Okay, let's continue our discussion of differential analysis and talk about adding or dropping a business segment. So one of the most important decisions managers can make is whether to add or drop a business segment, and primarily this is going to hinge on the impact it will have on net operating income. So net operating income is the goal. If net operating income goes up, getting rid of the division or adding the division is a good idea. If net operating income goes down, then of course it's a bad idea to get rid of it or to add the division or the segment. So in this, we have to be very careful of what costs we include, because we want traceable fixed costs. We don't want general costs. If we include general costs, we could make a very bad decision here. So we want to make sure we do traceable fixed costs. That's what's most important. So when we look here at our example, we're going to talk about digital watches and the Lovell Company's digital watch line, which apparently has not been reporting a profit for a few years, and maybe we want to discontinue it. So what's important here again is finding the traceable fixed cost to this product line, not the overall fixed costs. The decision rule, as we said earlier, would be to drop the segment only if its products would increase. So what we'll do is compare the contribution margin that would be lost to the costs that would be avoided if the line was dropped. So we're going to look at contribution margin and see if that would be avoided or not if we lost the line. So if we do that, we run some numbers. We see here that the segment income, this is for just digital watches, had sales of $500,000. It had variable manufacturing and shipping costs and commissions of $200,000, so its contribution margin was $300,000. Then we subtract all the fixed expenses. Now this is all the fixed expenses, and so we see fixed expenses of $400,000, which gives us a $100,000 loss. But these are all the fixed expenses. All of the fixed expenses are not the fixed expenses traceable to digital watches. They've included all kinds of things. For example, general factory overhead. The salary of the line manager, well, that looks traceable. Depreciation of equipment, well, if it's equipment only in the digital watch, that would be true. Advertising, direct, rent on the factory space. Is the factory space just digital watches? Well, that would be directly traceable. What if it was other things? So it wouldn't be directly traceable. So we have to pick and choose a little bit on our fixed overhead of what's required to this particular product line. So if we look a little differently at it, an investigation has revealed that the fixed general factory overhead and the fixed general administrative expenses will not be affected by dropping the digital watch line. In fact, they will continue. So that is common fixed expenses, not directly traceable to this product line. So that changes how much the division is actually doing. If we look at the results, we can look at it as a contribution margin solution. So the contribution margin would be lost if the digital watches are dropped. So we may have $300,000 in contribution margin, and that would be lost if we got rid of the watch division. So it's kind of a reverse thinking here to think of it as negative. It would be lost, so we're showing it here as negative. Less the fixed costs that can be avoided, the salary of the line manager, we can avoid that. We can also get rid of the advertising, the direct advertising, and the rent of the factory space. Apparently that was all directly contributable to the digital watch division. And so we could get rid of those fixed expenses. So we have $300,000 in contribution margin, and $260,000 of the expenses would be omitted. So the net disadvantage of dropping the line is $40,000. In other words, instead of having $300,000 in contribution margin, we would get rid of it and we would have $40,000 in contribution margin. So the difference is quite substantial.